If you love pumpkin pie and cheesecake, guys, it's game over. Because today we're making a pumpkin cheesecake that doesn't even require you to turn on your oven. This is great for the holidays. It's actually great all year round because I'm a cheesecake lover and I'm telling you that this comes so close to a baked cheesecake. We're literally gonna put it together, we're gonna let it set in the fridge, and you're gonna be able to enjoy a cheesecake by like dinner time. So there's nothing better than that. I already have everything set out. We have all of our ingredients. This is actually an almond flour based crust. So again, it's grain-free, gluten-free, low in carbs, and we're gonna get started. So we have this is just some finely blanched almond flour. As you can tell, if you have a if you have a sifter, if you have a sifter, then of course you can go ahead and sift your almond flour just so you don't have any lumps. And this is just a little allulose. So we are going to do some pumpkin pie spice. If you're not a big fan, then just do cinnamon. I'm actually gonna do both. I just feel like it's gonna add more flavor to our crust. And a little pinch of salt. And then some melted butter. Beautiful. So now this is how we're making our crust. It's super, super easy to make a low carb crust. Literally just throw these ingredients in just like I did here. We're going to give it a good mix. It is gonna resemble kind of like a wet sand texture, which is what you want. You don't want it to be all mushy because then your crust ends up being kind of soggy. So this is the wet sand texture that you are looking for. Pie dish, spray a little bit of avocado oil, just a little. I mean, that's the oil that I use. You're gonna use, whatever you have on hand. Okay, so we're just gonna pour in our pie crust. And now with the spatula, you can use your hand, but I'm just gonna use a little spatula to actually press it down. And you are gonna see how this turns into our cheesecake crust. So I've pressed in the crust, as you can tell. I want it to form like a little lip all around it. That's just completely optional if you want a thicker crust. I personally, just because of calories, carbs, I feel like this is just a good amount of crust for the pie or for the cheesecake. But again, it's all personal preference. But the thing is, it's done. We're gonna set it in the fridge. Meanwhile, we'll get started on our filling. Okay, so we have all of our ingredients for our filling. I just have a big bowl because I'm gonna toss everything into it. The one thing I will say is make sure that your cream cheese is softened. I actually just toss this into the microwave, but this is the texture that you want. So we are gonna start off with our pumpkin. So this is pumpkin puree. Remember, I always remind you guys because I've made the mistake of buying pumpkin pie mix. Guys. Then I have to get back into my car and drive because I'll look at the ingredients and it's like 38 grams of carbs for like a quarter cup. So this is pumpkin puree. We're gonna toss this in first. And now we have our softened cream cheese going in. Ooh, powdered sweetener. And we have some vanilla extract. So pumpkin pie spice, a little pinch of salt. Remember, the salt always brings out the flavor, guys. It brings out the sweetness, it just kind of enhances all the flavors. So what we're gonna do is give it like a little mix with our spatula, but I do have a hand mixer that I'm gonna use just to make life easier. Actually, look at how, we probably don't even need the hand mixer for this. So you can pretty much almost mix this by hand, but I am seeing a few little chunks of cream cheese, so we're gonna end up using the mixer. And I'll show you the one that we're using. It's like super powerful. I'm almost scared that I'm gonna make a huge mess. So I'm using my little handheld stand mixer. I just got this off Amazon. I'll leave it linked for you if you guys don't have one. Actually pretty powerful. We're just gonna blend this until smooth. Okay, so this is our final consistency. Looks beautiful. Now there is one more step to our filling. This is what's gonna add like the height and like the fluffiness that you look for in a cheesecake. So this is all done. Let's set it aside. A beauty. So I'm grabbing a bigger bowl because when you make whipped cream, it does kind of like double in size. There's a lot of air that's created. So we're just gonna pour in our heavy whipping cream. And now let's go ahead and mix this baby. Okay, and that is how you make a super quick homemade whipped cream, in case you've never made any. But all you do is whip up the heavy whipping cream, and then you have a very clean version of whipped cream. Because I mean, even though the cans from the store are super convenient, they do have some unhealthy preservatives and ingredients. So if you can do this, then it's super, super quick and clean. We are going to pour our whipped cream right into our filling. I could have probably whipped it a tiny bit longer, but because you want the fluffiness, you know, you want that fluffiness from the cream. It's gonna help just give you, like your filling isn't gonna be as dense. It's gonna feel more like airy and fluffy. And now we're just going to fold. Instead of mixing it, you just kind of fold it so it keeps the air in the whip. Okay, so that's folded in. Now we have our crust. It's been setting in the fridge while we were making this, so it's nice and cold. And now we are gonna go ahead and pour it in. Look at that. Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, so now I'm just smoothing it out so it looks just really pretty and even. And that is it, guys. We do not need to turn on our oven. We're actually just gonna let it set in the fridge pretty much for the rest of the day. I would say if you want a time, I would say between 3 to 5 hours. It really just depends on your fridge. But I'm gonna go ahead, set it in there, and then I will be back to show you the final product. So stay tuned. We're gonna get this in, and I'll see you guys in a few hours. All right, guys, so we let our pie set in the fridge, and now to finish it off, I'm thinking, so I'm gonna add pecans just because one, I love pecans, and two, I wanna add like a crunchy component to this. And to finish it off, we are adding some whipped cream right in the center. You guys see that? Okay, 10 out of 10. Now, I know I say that for a lot of recipes, but guys, you have to understand that we recipe test and we really try to perfect our recipes. This one here is, so it's obviously a no-bake pumpkin pie cheesecake. But I kind of wanted to just play around with it, so I put it in the freezer for a couple hours. It tastes like a, what do you call it? An ice cream cake. It tastes like an ice cream cake. Like there's a softness to it, but like because the inside started freezing a little, it like gives it more consistency. I'm obsessed. Like this is perfection. If you love pumpkin pie and cheesecake, this is like its little creation together. You guys are gonna love it. I'm gonna go ahead and leave the recipe in the description below. If you guys like this video, make sure you show me some love and go hit that like button. Don't forget to share not only this recipe, but the channel with friends and family that are living a low carb lifestyle or that are just looking for healthier alternatives to their favorite foods. Guys, thanks so much for being here. I love you, and I'll see you on my next video. Mwah.